before working with us?
So much has happened since then. I had to rewind a few months. I was coming up of about 3 or 4 years of underemployment and unemployment and what am I going to do? And I need a job now. And I'm tired of being rejected and crickets when you reply, when you email or do ATS and all that stuff. And so I got online and I'm like, there has to be a different way. Maybe we'll even go the recruiter headhunter way because I had stayed away from that. And I cannot tell you how I ended up at ECU's website. I don't remember the rabbit hole. I was like, oh, I don't know about this. This little introvert doesn't like this kind of thing. And so I watched the webinar and then I, talked to Luke. And I was still really, I'm not going to lie, I was skeptical and I was scared. But I thought, well, nothing else is working. So let's just see.
Absolutely. What were you skeptical about? I'm curious.
I just, in my mind and in my world, LinkedIn was social media. And in my world, I'm an IT professional, security professional. I treated my LinkedIn network just like I treat my Facebook or Instagram or whatever networks. If I don't know you personally, you don't get in, right? And so I was just not clear on how this could possibly work because I also, the reverse for me was true too. Like if I got random invites for connections on LinkedIn, I ignored them. I was like, no, I don't know you. What could you possibly do for me or I for you? And so I was unaware of the power, frankly, of LinkedIn and that network and how helpful and supportive you can have complete strangers be.
Well, at what point did you say, I need help here?
It was one of those dark days where there was, a couple of positions that I had applied for, one that I've even interviewed for 3 or 4 times, and then no, thank you. No real reason. We're going in a different direction kind of thing. And I'm just like, I can't do this anymore. Right. Yeah. And so I would joke with my friends, if I don't find a job soon, I'm going to be living in a cardboard box down by the river. And it was a joke, but it was also, it was articulating kind of a fear. Like, was I ever going to be gainfully, positively employed doing something that I'm great at and valuable in and love? And so I just knew something had to change.
What did you find to be the most valuable?
That is a super easy question for me personally. I'm not a group person. That really, it's just not my thing. But the one-on-one coaching that was offered with this program was really attractive. And so I leveraged that like nobody's business. The coaching with you, that mindset coaching with you, life-changing, honest to God. So thank you for that. And I coached primarily with Diane. She was also life-changing. And you guys, you just have this way of hearing our stories, hearing my story, and using different words, are words that I was not using for myself. And so I was kind of, you're never going to get a job, you're never going to be good enough, all the negative, really detrimental to your whole well-being. Again, a phrase I probably would not have used 6 months ago. And so it was, for me personally, it was the one-on-one coaching that drew me absolutely in, and I think helped completely change my career path in a way that I had absolutely not anticipated before this program. I'd been a long-time IT director, CIO, leading teams, implementing really great technology. I was very good at what I did. And that's when I joined the program, that's still what I thought I was going to do for the rest of my career. It's what I'd been doing. I was good at it, whatever. We did my resume in such a way to go apply for those kinds of jobs. And there was this fateful day a few months ago where I'd had 2 back-to-back networking interview. They were more interviews than just networking at that point. And in both of those calls, I'm like, oh, no. I don't want to do this. It's not I can't do this. It's I don't want to do this. And so I hung up from that second call and I sat on the couch and cried for a few minutes. Then I got online and I scheduled time with Diane. And I'm like, I think I figured out why I don't have a new job yet. It's because I don't want those jobs. And so she's like, okay. And of course, this is like mini crisis for me, because like in my view of my future, this was what I was always going to do. And now that was like in flames over there. And I'm like, oh, now what? Right. She helped me kind of refocus and gave me this exercise, right? Kind of go through, open up your brain. She said, I'm gonna tell you to do something we don't usually, embrace here. I want you to go look at job ads and just highlight and cut and paste into a Word document the bullet points of job positions that you like, that you're good at, and that you would want to do in a new job. And then keep track of the titles as well. And so I rolled my eyes and I didn't do it for a few days. And I'm not gonna lie, I did. Rolled my eyes, didn't do it. And I finally did it, and it became clear pretty quickly that what I was really thinking, didn't know it very subconsciously, was careers in the customer success field, which I had honestly never really heard of, had a vague awareness of. And so I changed all of my LinkedIn targeting, and I started targeting customer success professionals, primarily just to get data from them. IT person, we gather data. That's what we do. And so I was just gathering data about what is this field like, what's your story, how did you get in, all that kind of stuff. I met amazing people. At one point I hung up from a call and I'm like, I think I just met my people, right? Like, I think this is something. And then a couple of calls later, I gave my little spiel, which you guys were tremendous in helping me, I hate this phrase, reframe my narrative. But we did it. And I gave this woman my narrative and, my little sales pitch. And I'm not kidding, I'm going to say it was less than 2 minutes. It might have been even less than 90 seconds. That me gathering data call turned into a job interview. Seriously.
Phenomenal.
Seriously. And I was kind of like, what is going on here? Like, I told her my spiel and she kind of moved her head around a little bit, looked away from the camera, and she looked back and she goes, we don't have anyone on our team with your kind of experience. Job interview. And 7 interviews later, I had a job offer for a senior customer success manager at a startup, something I have never done in my life. Neither one of those things, right? Making more money than I'd ever made in my career, doing something I'd never done before. And I can't even figure out the words to articulate just how amazing the experience has been. And it all goes back to that day when I'm like, something has to change. Find a different way to solve your problem, Beth. ECU, a world I could never have imagined 6 months ago. Could not have imagined. Did not imagine is my reality.
I love that. And you've been at your job now for, are we around 45 or 60 days at this point?
I started November 15th. So that's 6 weeks. Yeah, about 6 weeks.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And I have to ask, because so many people do come to us looking to do a pivot. How is that something you ever could have done on your own? Would you ever have come to that point of going, I cannot do tech. I want to go in a different direction? Or did you need the support for that?
I personally think it was the support, both in terms of the switch in the mindset, like, Beth, stop saying all those terrible things to yourself all day, every day. And then the other things that you taught me that I still use and I use every day at work, the whole breathing thing, and, breathe in peace and breathe out fear, or whatever your words are, right? And I still do that kind of stuff. And then Diane was fantastic at hearing my career story and then me stating my objections about why I couldn't be a customer success professional, right? And then her going, but you have done those things, but look at it this way. But wait a minute, Beth, you already do that. And I was like, oh yeah. So it was that outside looking back in at me and then reflecting it back to me. No, this is what we see, Beth. You need to see this too. So could I have done it on my own? Maybe. Would I? Probably not. I probably would have ultimately found another job like I'd had and done it and been good at it, but not loved it.
Absolutely. I'm so glad you touched too on the words that we tell ourselves. I mean, he always says the words that you say that can either build you up or break you down. And there really is no in between. We really have to be conscious and choose what we're fueling ourselves with. So,
and I don't think I realized how much really negative inside chatter I was doing.
Yeah.
Right? Until I started attending your sessions and I was like, it's got to stop. Right. And so for all of that, I will always be eternally grateful.
Well, I got one last question for you. What advice would you have for someone who's on the fence or is considering working with us? What would your advice be?
My advice would be do it, lean into it, do the things that scare you the most because that's where the growth is, and leverage the coaches. That's what makes this program special.